Hello, welcome to today's webinar. This is the third webinar in our speaker web series. We will be covering on-site logistics, including room sets, the equipment, and presentation best practices. I'm Catherine Cristo, the Program Manager of Education for the Product Stewardship Conference, and I look forward to meeting you all in Columbus in a few weeks. So again, this year we have implemented a speaker web series, which is intended as a guide for all of our presenters at Product Stewardship 2019. We have 4 webinars in the series, and this is number 3. And these are intended to help you navigate all the resources we have available, meet any conference-related deadlines, and help you improve your presentation skills and ultimately give a well-received presentation on site. So again, this is the third webinar in the series. We have one left, which is next week on August 22nd, and that will actually be at noon Eastern instead of 2 p.m. Eastern. And that webinar is going to be for moderators on roles and responsibilities. Anyone can attend that, not just the moderators. So if you're a speaker and you have a moderator in your session and you want to learn more about what their role is, you're welcome to join us. This is just a refresher for you regarding our action items and deadlines for the conference. So we have asked that you log in the speaker portal and sign our speaker agreement. So if you have not done so, please do that as soon as possible. This is important. We do record sessions on site, and we need you to sign off and give consent as to whether or not you would like to be recorded, and you have the option to opt out. Also in the speaker portal, you have the ability to complete a bio and upload a headshot, and so this way folks will know a little bit more about you before they get on site and attend your sessions. We highly recommend that you do that. If you need any assistance logging in the speaker portal, you can feel free to email me, which I will provide my email at the end of this webinar. Most of you are registered. I've been checking on that, but all presenters are required to register. So if you haven't registered yet, please do so before the conference. We've also asked that you review our speaker toolkit, which is our web page online, which has all resources. It has all the webinar recordings and all the PowerPoint files for you to review. So if you have not gotten on the website yet, make sure you do so before the conference. And as a reminder, our presentation dates are September 9th for our workshops and the main conference September 10th, 11th, and 12th. And here is a link and a screenshot of the speaker toolkit so you know what it looks like and where to find it. As I mentioned previously, the speaker toolkit will be consistently updated with resources for you. We'll be adding information through the conference. You can access the webinar recordings and slides there, download the official Product Stewardship 2019 PowerPoint template, and review all of the on-site logistics information, specifically that we'll be covering in this webinar today. Again, our presentation dates, we have 2 workshops on September 9th, and our education sessions are September 10th and 11th and 12th. When you get on site, the first thing that you will want to do is go to the registration desk to pick up your badge. You won't be able to access any area of the convention center, the presentation room, without your badge. So the registration desk will be on level 2 in the foyer space outside of room A210, and we will have signs all throughout the convention center, so you should be able to follow the conference-related signs up to the 2nd level of the registration desk. And I've also put up the hours, so you can see we do have some extensive hours. And if you get on site Monday and you're able to come on by to get your badge, because on Tuesday morning it's going to be very busy with the conference kicking off that day. So if you're able to come on Monday, please come by and get your badge on Monday. Otherwise, we will have fairly extensive hours for you to come by and pick everything up. So after you go to the registration desk in the convention center, you can go directly to your assigned session room, and we recommend that you go at least 15 to 20 minutes prior to the presentation. Now, you will want to check the website or the mobile app to make sure that there's not another session going on or a meeting going on when you want to go into that room. So to find your assigned room, you can go into the Product Stewardship 2019 mobile app. I'll get into some details in a few slides on how you can download. You can look on the on-site guide when you get there. You can also go on the website. If you go on our website now and look through the education session listings, you can also find the room number there. Again, make sure if you decide you want to go to the room to look around, get a feel for the setup, and test your presentation, just make sure that you're not trying to go at a time when something else is already scheduled. We will have audio-visual technicians floating around the room. They should be fairly identifiable. They're usually wearing black or blue t-shirts, and they'll be there to help you if you want to kind of go through what's in your presentation, if there's any video files that you want to test out. They're usually pretty helpful, and they'll be circulating around. But I do recommend that you try to go to your session room in advance. It's not a good idea to go 5 minutes before, and then if something isn't working or something doesn't look right, there's kind of a rush before the session starts. So for your edification, here are the rooms in the Greater Columbus Convention Center that we will be utilizing. A215 is actually for our partner showcase, but since those are happening during education blocks as well, we wanted to let you know. And just a note that Union Station A is the general session room, so that room is a little bit bigger and has more seating. So that's just for your reference that room is, if you're in that room is larger. We've also tried to do the room assignments to place sessions that we think, based on data from the past on topic areas and content, what we think might be more popular, to put those sessions in the larger room. All of our education rooms have a standard set, and that includes a laptop. You don't need to bring your laptop. We will have one there. All you need to do is bring your presentation files on a USB. We'll have a projector and a screen that are sized appropriately for the room. We will have some wireless mics for presenters and a wireless slide advancer. Something very important to note is that we will only have 4 wireless microphones available. So that means if your session has more than 4 presenters and a moderator, that you'll have to share those microphones. And unfortunately, we're unable to provide any other equipment than what we have there. We can't make exceptions. And I know I have here that there's a podium mic. I don't think there's a podium. So again, we would probably just have the 4 wireless microphones for you to all share. The session room layout, we do not have a head table as in the traditional layout. We actually have informal seating for the presenters that'll be off to the side in the front of the room. I'll show you a diagram momentarily. This is to encourage our presenters to be interactive with the audience and with each other, to walk around, make eye contact, and engage, instead of just standing in the corner behind a podium. We want you to make an effort to be interactive, because that's something that's a presentation best practice, and that folks tend to get more out of the session if they feel like they have that engagement with the presenter. The audience seating is set in rounds, and that will accommodate about 50 to 75 people per session, give or take. And again, this is also to encourage interaction and conversation between the attendees. So here's an example layout of one of the session rooms, one of the breakout rooms. This is 211 and 212. You can see the screen in the front of the room with the projector. Off to the side, there's some seating, a cocktail round with some seating for the presenters. And then there are the round tables for the attendees. And then we also have a desk in the back, which will be for our staff who is recording. This room is Union Station A. As I mentioned, this is the general session room. So you can see that it is much larger, and there is also a stage, so the set's a little bit different because we're utilizing that for the general session. So if you're in this room and maybe you have attendees, but you're not filling the whole room up, you can definitely, I would encourage folks to come up to the front, and that way you can feel like a little bit of a tighter group, more cohesive group in that room. So we will not have a speaker-ready room on site just due to the size of the conference and the space that we have. We are not going to collect PowerPoint files in advance of the conference. We don't review or we don't vet the PowerPoints or approve them or anything like that prior to the conference. You will put your PowerPoint together in advance of the conference, and again, you'll put that on a USB and you'll go straight to the session room and load that onto the laptop that we have there when you get there. So this is a really, really important slide, our PowerPoint ratio. Our PowerPoint template is set to 16:9 ratio, and this is actually for all of the education session rooms and the general session rooms. And in the past, we actually have had it set to a 4:3, which is smaller, which is the standard. And we had received word from the convention center this year that actually every room is set to a 16:9 ratio. So we have updated the PowerPoint template on our website this week to the 16:9 ratio. We did have a PowerPoint template up there that was not 16:9, it was 4:3, and we apologize for the inconvenience. So we did just get word that everything's going to be a 16:9 in the convention center. So I'm going to show you in a couple of slides. It's really easy to change your slides to a 16:9. However, if you already did start on a 4:3 ratio, you will have to resize some things. If you use your own template, if you decide you're not going to use the Product Stewardship Society template, which we don't recommend, we recommend that you use ours, please make sure that it's set to the right format. If you use any other format, it likely will show on the screen, but if you use a 4:3, it's just going to be much tinier, so it'll be harder for people to see. So I use my PowerPoint as an example. This is how you would go in and change the ratio. You go up to the top and you hit Design, and then you go over to the right to Slide Size. And when you click on that, you'll go down and you will choose the 16:9, which is the widescreen. You can see that it's highlighted as the standard 4:3 on mine. So if I decided I was going to use this PowerPoint at conference, I would have to go convert it to the widescreen. And I believe if you hit widescreen, it will automatically resize all the slides in the PowerPoint, and then you just have to go through and you would just have to resize. So again, we recommend that you use PowerPoint for the presentation. You can also use a PDF file or an HTML file. Again, we would highly recommend that you use the Product Stewardship 2019 PowerPoint template. It provides a cohesive look on site. And also sometimes when you use your company slides, folks can misconstrue that as commercialism. So this provides, a nice cohesive template for the conference. All presenters use this, and it's what we recommend. Again, you're required to use the computers, the laptops that we have on site. You don't need to bring your own, and we don't recommend that you bring your own. Again, if for some reason you were trying to demo a software or demo something and you did need to work with AV, we recommend that you get there earlier to test that out and work with them. The laptops that we have are Windows-based PCs, and they're equipped with Microsoft PowerPoint and latest versions of Adobe Acrobat Reader, Windows Media Player, QuickTime for Windows. We're not going to have any other programs available. But if you create your PowerPoint files on a Mac computer, it will open on these. It will be okay. Again, please go to the session room if you can, maybe the day before. If you can go during a lunch break, if you can go during a break at some point, and just try to test out your files, make sure everything looks good. That is highly recommended. Talk a little bit about presentation best practices. We will have wireless internet at the convention center. We will not have a hardwired internet. So we don't recommend that you rely on the internet. Any outside links, if you have audio files or video files, we ask that you embed it into the PowerPoint presentation. And that will make sure that when you click on it, you're not trying to link out to the outside internet. If it's embedded or you have backup files, it should work without having to rely on the internet. So we do recommend first you embed the audio or video files and also have a backup copy should you need assistance from the AV tech, that they will have that available. And again, we can't guarantee the strength of the wireless. Typically, it's not a problem. It's a smaller conference, so it shouldn't be an issue. But again, we don't want you relying too heavily for your presentation on the internet. So several of you have asked about polling options, and we have seen folks successfully utilize live polling during their sessions at the Product Stewardship Conference in the past. So I've listed several free options if you're thinking about doing a live poll, and you can investigate some of these sites. Of course, they all have free options, but they also have paid options. So you'll just have to read through what are the parameters for the paid option and see if that fits what you're trying to do. Again, these do run on internet, so there's no guarantee of the internet quality or the strength of the connection, because we do have wireless available. But I have seen it done successfully using the wireless internet, so it can be done. And just as a quick note that there's no polling feature in the Product Stewardship 2019 mobile app this year. So if you are looking to do the live polling, you can investigate one of these sites and use the free option if you choose. A note about presentation materials: if there's anything that you want to bring with you, like say you have a handout or you have a one-pager, you want to hand something out that goes with your presentation, you'll have to print and bring that with you. That's what we recommend. There will be no conference-related printing on site from the staff. There are several options in the Greater Columbus Convention Center, business centers that you can use. So there's the Guest Service Center. They offer a variety of services, as you can see. And there's one on the first floor by the South Cafe and Marketplace, and there's also one on the main concourse by meeting room A120. And any associated costs when you get on site, if you decide you want to print a bunch of stuff or you want to buy a flip chart or anything like that, that would also be at your cost, at the speaker's cost, responsibility. Just wanted to talk quick about your presentation and what is a successful, well-received presentation. So make sure it's targeted, has a focus message. It has examples and applications, so folks who come, attendees who come, really like to have things that they can apply when they get home on the job. Clear and simple, effectively conveying ideas and providing new tools and skills. And one important thing is to make sure that the title and description that we have in the program that was peer-reviewed is what you're actually presenting, because oftentimes people go to a session and they have in their mind, after reading the description online, what that session is going to be. And I know that was several months ago, but if you've tweaked the presentation, just kind of keep in mind what you submitted and what folks are expecting to see in your presentation. And even sessions that are heavy in theory or research should also have practical applications. And again, make sure your data is current, accurate, objective, offers solutions, new ideas, that it's understandable, the data is clear and concise, and that it has appropriate visuals. So I have seen at this conference and other conferences like a lot of data and graphs on one slide. And keep in mind that if it's a larger room, so if you're in the Union Station A room and there's people all the way in the back of the room, they might not be able to see that. They might not be able to see the numbers on that graph. They might not be able to look at the slide and understand the data because maybe there's too much or the font's too small. So that's just something to think about when you're putting visuals and data into your presentation. And again, we would like all the presentations to be commercial free, so even if you work for a company, it should be more about the work processes or research and less about the company offering a product or service. And these are just some best practices. I won't go through all of them, but we just wanted to provide that to keep in mind, not to go crazy, and I don't think any of you will, with crazy with different fonts or colors or all capitals or too much bolding or italics. These are general PowerPoint best practices. And again, we have the PowerPoint template, but a little bit of note about color schemes, keeping colors simple and not going too crazy, and especially thinking about the slide size and how everything will look at the convention center. Inserting images, again, if you're going to use images, especially charts and graphs, make sure that someone could be able to look at that in the presentation and understand what you're trying to convey. If there's a ton of numbers, if it's small, if you can't see it from the back of the room, then it might not have the intended effect. So now a little bit about our mobile app. We are offering a mobile app this year, and it's highly recommended that you download it. We will have an on-site guide printed, but it's basically a very simple grid with the location of the rooms, of the sessions and their rooms and what's going on, kind of an at-a-glance schedule. It's not going to have descriptions or presenter detail, so it would be an awesome idea to download the Product Stewardship Conference mobile app. You can review the agenda, room assignments, full session descriptions, all the information about the speakers, the events that are going on. You can plan your schedule, add the sessions either that you're speaking at or you plan to attend to your schedule. We're also going to be sending out important alerts and update notifications about various things happening throughout the conference via the mobile app. You can learn more about our partners, and you can also update your own profile and connect with other attendees as well. So there'll be an option for you to connect with others. I believe that it should be live today. As of today, if it's not, it will be live in the next few days. You will search for Product Stewardship 2019 in the App Store on your mobile phone. There's also a web version. I've included the link here so you can use the web version if you choose. All of our session evaluations will be in the mobile app. So it's really important, and this is something you could even build in your PowerPoint slides at the end of the slide if you're going to provide your email. You can also put a little reminder for folks to log in the mobile app and provide their feedback. Because actually last year we didn't get a ton of feedback, and if we don't get significant enough feedback, there's really not much that we get from it from a planning standpoint, but it's also not as significant for you in terms of improving your public speaking skills. So it's important for you at the end, for the moderator and the speakers to remind folks to take the evaluation. We will be sending out a notice via the mobile app at the end of the day to remind folks to log in and rate the sessions. And again, it's really helpful for us to plan next year, to plan our education, and also helpful for you as if you keep coming to the conference, you go to other conferences to understand how your presentations are received. So just a quick overview of the session evaluations. We'll be rating in a few areas. We ask the attendees to rate the quality of the session content. We ask them to rate the quality of the speakers. Unfortunately, we don't have a mechanism to rate each individual speaker, so it's all of the speakers in the session. But there is a open-ended comment box, so folks may put their thoughts on a specific speaker in the comment box. And the rating scale is a 5-point scale. I also wanted to put a reminder here about conference attendance. I know we're gearing up. We're in the 3 to 4 weeks prior to conference, and so sometimes unforeseen circumstances do arise. If for some reason you find that you can't come to the conference any longer, you can't speak, please make sure you email us and let us know. And also go in and update your speaker agreement in our speaker portal. If you can't make it for some reason and you can find a replacement speaker, we would really appreciate that so that we don't have to cancel a session. And we would ask ideally that it be on the same content which was peer reviewed, but if it's on something slightly different, that would be okay. If there's no replacement speaker and you're the only speaker on the session, then we will have to cancel that and mark that as canceled online. Another reminder here is that when you submitted the session back in February, March, you would probably notice that there's a limit to the number of presenters per session type. And this is because we want presenters to have enough time to present meaningful content and also engage with the audience in a Q&A. And if there's too many presenters and the presenters are running over, then oftentimes other speakers get cut short, or the session is lacking in content because there was not a clear organization and the speakers didn't have enough time. So as a reminder, the express sessions they're only 30 minutes, so they should really only have one presenter. The standard are an hour-long sessions, so those only have 3 presenters, and the deep dives are a little bit longer, an hour and a half, and have a maximum of 5. And our half-day workshops that we are offering 2 of those this year have a maximum of 3. We just wanted to highlight, please don't invite someone to speak who is not approved and listed on the session already. It's one thing if they are going to replace someone who can't come at the last minute, but it becomes problematic if multiple people are invited that are not already approved to be in the session. We have a limited number of materials, and the times, there's a limited number of time for each speaker to present, so we want to make sure that we have our organization and structure in place. Another reminder about the Greater Columbus Convention Center, all of our room sets and our space is approved by the fire marshal, and we ask that you not move furniture, don't move tables, don't move things around, because the Product Stewardship Society will incur change fees. And all of our visual equipment has to be provided by our provider that we've contracted with at the Convention Center, Mills James. So we really aren't able to accommodate anything outside. If you had some special requests, you should email us now before we get on site so we can double check the space or see if we can accommodate a specific request for you. I do have a note in here that you're not allowed to bring any AV equipment, and this includes handheld polling devices. We don't allow those on site. If you had some handouts or some smaller items that you wanted to bring to your session, you can hand carry those. So if you had your own flip chart that you wanted to bring, or a handout or a one-pager, you can bring that. But please, no carts or dollies. If you need any help to maybe carry a box in or carry a few things in, please contact the staff members of the registration desk. But again, any other special requests, or if you have questions about the Convention Center, we ask that you email us now and not ask us 5 minutes before, because it's harder to accommodate those kinds of last-minute requests if we're already there and we're getting ready for your presentation. So again, as I mentioned previously, this is our 3rd speaker web series, and we will have one more. The 4th one is on moderators' roles and responsibilities. We're going to talk about what we expect from moderators on site. And just a quick overview, moderators are responsible for announcements. So that would be if there's a last-minute speaker replacement, something like that, announce that at the start of the session, introduce the speakers, keep the speakers on time and according to schedule. Again, if there's a session and there's 3 speakers and they each get 20 minutes, we want to make sure that one speaker doesn't go over and cut another speaker's time short. And again, moderators will also remind folks to take the session evaluation in the mobile app. That webinar is next Thursday, August 22nd at noon Eastern, and I'll be sending out dial-in, the web link for that. I'll send that out tomorrow so you have that. That concludes the content portion of the presentation for today. I've placed my email up on the screen, so if there's anything that you have a question about, if you're rewatching this or you look at the slides later and you have a question, you can email me at any time. But I'll also ask now, if you have a question, you can chat that into the Q&A box on your screen, and I can also unmute everybody and see if you have any questions. So go ahead if you have any questions and chat them in now. I do see a question about audio hookup from the computer and the embedding a presentation video. There will be audio, there won't be a special hookup. If you have the video embedded in your presentation and you click on it, it should work, but there's no special audio or special hookup. So I'm not sure if that helps answer your question. And most embedded videos, if you click on them, it will work with the audio that we already have set up. But we don't have, there's no special hookup. We can't hook up to a special speaker or anything like that. We'll go ahead now and unmute everybody and see if you have any questions, if you want to discuss anything that was presented today.
The conference has been unmuted.
Does anyone have any specific questions? I see one that was just chatted in. We have a question about the slide format and the new template. So you don't have to redo your entire slides. What you have to do is go in and change the formatting on the slide, and you might have to resize something. So a wider format is a little bit longer and wider, and so if you use the 4:3, you might have a little bit of text running off the slide, and you might have to resize the images, but it really depends on what's in your presentation. We have a lot of people on staff who are really good with PowerPoint. If you're just swamped and you don't have the time to resize, you can certainly send it over to us, and we'd be more than happy to help you. But you will, if you've already done your entire deck, your slide deck, you'll have to go in and resize the slides, and that's only if you used a 4:3 ratio. If you use the 16:9 ratio already, you don't need to redo it. And again, if you are not using our template and you are using your own slides, most convention centers now are set to a 16:9 ratio, so it's likely that that would have already been set that way. If you have any questions about the slides, you can certainly email me and I can help you out. Do you have any other questions? I have another question. Is there a remote to advanced slides and a laser pointer? I believe there is a slide advancer. I'm not sure if it has a laser pointer. I believe it's just a slide advancer, so if you had a laser pointer that you felt like you needed to have one, then you would probably want to bring that yourself. Any other questions? I'm not seeing any other questions right now. My email is up on the screen, so if you think of anything, you know, if you're digesting the information we just presented and anything comes to mind, you can send me an email. Again, I will be posting these slides and also the audio recording on our speaker toolkit later today. It should be up and approved and running for you sometime tomorrow or no later than Monday. Again, next Thursday, August 22nd, is our final Speaker Web Series webinar. That will be on the moderator's roles and responsibilities. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions, so I'll let you go for today. We thank you for joining us for today's webinar and hope that you got a lot out of it and that it will be helpful for you in preparing to get on site. And we look forward to seeing you in Columbus. Have a great day, everyone.